Let's talk about polls and margin of error, looking at election polls. So this poll is from a Gallup poll conducted in June of 2022. The 38% of all U.S. adults who say they are extremely proud to be American is the lowest in the trend, which began in 2001. Together with the 27% who are very proud, 65% of the U.S. adults express pride in the nation. Another 22% say they are moderately proud, while 9% are only a little, and 4% are not at all proud. This was from a sample of 1,015 adults with a margin of error of plus or minus 4 percentage points at the 95% confidence level. First question, what is the population? Remember, the population is all the people we could have talked to. Right there it is, all U.S. adults. Okay. Now, we can't talk to everyone, which is why we have a sample. So we wanted to talk to as many U.S. adults as we can, so the population is everybody. How many people did we actually talk to? Well, where's it at? There it is, 1,015. So the sample is how many you actually talked to. So now, let's use a margin of error, which is plus or minus 4%, to calculate a confidence interval for the proportion of Americans who are extremely proud. Okay, so we go back up. Here's extremely proud, 38%. So 38% is our point estimate, right? That's the amount that's our estimate for extremely proud. Now we know it's plus or minus 4%. So if I go to the left, I subtract 4%. When I go to the right, I add 4%. So what's 38 minus 4? Well, 34%. What's 38 plus 4? 42%. So my confidence interval would be 34 to 42% of Americans would be extremely proud to be an American. So if we did any other surveys, of this question, we would expect extremely proud to be somewhere between 34 and 42% of those that we survey. That's what that means. This graph has the results of a poll of 1,000 registered voters who were asked what candidate they were likely to vote for before a closely contested election. The margin of error has been added to the graph. So you can see the margin of error is like these dots, like the up and down lines, okay? So letter A, by how many percentage points does Sunny lead Lady in the poll? Okay, so here's Sunny at 48.4%. And then here's Lady at 46.8%. So by how many percentage points? Well, we should subtract, and we get 1.6 percentage points. That's the lead. Sunny's got a lead of 1.6. Do any of the candidates have the majority of the likely vote? Well, remember that a majority is greater than 50%. So this answer is no, because the highest is 46.4. So they do not have it, maybe with a margin of error, but not with the votes that they have, right? They've got 48.4 as the highest. That is not a majority. Now, the margin of error is reported to be 3.2%. Suppose you were asked to make an election prediction based on this poll. Could you predict a winner? Oy. I would not feel comfortable, because think about this. If you look at Sunny at 48.4 plus or minus 3.2. So the interval for Sunny, if I subtract 3.2, I get 45.2. If I add 3.2, I get 51.6. So that would be the estimated percentage for Sunny. But we also have to consider Lady. So Lady is 46.8 plus or minus 3.2. If I subtract 3.2, I get 43.6. If I add 3.2, I get 50%. Now, when you compare these two intervals, you can't really make a prediction because they overlap, right? You can clearly see that, okay, Lady starts at 43.6. That's a 43.6, but then Sunny comes in at 45.2, and then Lady ends at 50, and then 51.6. So we have all of this overlap. So because they overlap so much with that margin of error, it's hard to say, I can't predict a winner. I can say it's going to be either Sunny or Lady because pot and unsure at the bottom here are basically out. Like they're just, that's nothing. But I don't know which one of those. Sunny or Lady, but I don't know which one. And the last question here, what proportion of votes can pot expect to get? So that's 2.7% plus or minus the margin of error of 3.2. Now, if I subtract 3.2, I get negative 0.5. Can you get a negative amount of votes? No. So that means the low end of our interval is 0 because you can't have a negative. You can't give back votes, right? 0 is the lowest, but my highest could be 5.9%. So the point there was to just keep in mind, pay attention to what you're talking about. You can't have a negative amount of votes and therefore a negative percentage of votes, and therefore the lowest is just 0. It doesn't matter that you're subtracting 3.2. That gets you to 0. That's as low as it goes. So just pay attention and make sure that you're using your common sense while you're playing with the math.